The Buffalo Bills ARE building something dangerous, A&D Bills Mafia isn't ready for what's coming. Let me ask you something. What does a team look like when it is truly, genuinely, obsessively hunting a Super Bowl? Not just talking about it, not just showing up to minicamp and going through the motions, but actually hunting, relentlessly turning over every rock, chasing every edge, signing every player that could give them even the smallest advantage over everyone else in the NFL. Because that is exactly what the Buffalo Bills are doing right now. And honestly, the rest of the league should be terrified. We are deep in the offseason, the point on the calendar where most fan bases start to get restless, where the highlight reels are few and the news cycles slow down, and yet around one Bills drive, things are anything but quiet. There is a trade rumor swirling that could completely transform Josh Allen's offense. There is a minicamp discovery story so good it sounds like something out of a movie. And then there is an underdog story. A man who got knocked down by injury, clawed his way back through the minor leagues, won a championship, won MVP honors, and is now showing up in Orchard Park, ready to prove he belongs at the highest level. Put all three of those stories together, and what you have is a franchise that is leaving absolutely nothing on the table. So buckle in, Bills Mafia, because today we are going deep on all of it. And by the time we are done, you are going to see why this offseason feels genuinely different, why this roster feels genuinely dangerous, and why right now the Buffalo Bills might quietly be assembling the most complete team Josh Allen has ever had around him. Let's start with the biggest story. The one that lit up every Bills fan's phone the moment it broke. The one that has people passionately split right down the middle. I am talking about the growing buzz connecting the Buffalo Bills to New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara. And Bills Mafia, this is not some random hot take thrown out there to fill a slow news day. This came directly from Fox Sports NFL insider Greg Oman, who named the Bills as one of the most logical landing spots for the five-time Pro Bowl running back. And once you understand the full picture of why, it starts to make a whole lot of sense. Here is how the dominoes fell. Back in March, the New Orleans Saints made a major splash in free agency by signing former Jacksonville Jaguars running back Travis Etienne Jr. to a 4-year deal, bringing the Louisiana native home and immediately establishing him as their primary ball carrier going forward. Etienne logged 1,107 rushing yards and 13 total touchdowns in his final season with Jacksonville, making him an attractive addition for a Saints team trying to rebuild around a new direction. The moment that signing became official, the clock started ticking loudly on Alvin Kamara's future in New Orleans. Kamara just turned 30, and with Etienne now in the fold, he faces a significantly reduced role for the first time in his 9-year career. Pro Football Network. Think about that for a second. For nearly a decade, Alvin Kamara was the centerpiece of everything the Saints did on offense. He was the guy they built the game plan around. He was the chess piece that defensive coordinators lost sleep over. And now, suddenly, he is looking at a future where he might be splitting carries and fighting for third down snaps. That is a brutal reality for a player of his caliber, and it is the kind of situation that typically ends in one of two ways: a trade or a messy, drawn-out farewell. Allman's reasoning for Buffalo being the perfect destination is compelling, and it all centers around one critical connection. Pete Carmichael, now Buffalo's offensive coordinator, was directing the Saints' offense when New Orleans selected Kamara in the 3rd round of the 2017 NFL Draft. Over their 7 seasons together, Kamara earned 5 consecutive Pro Bowl selections and consistently surpassed 1,000 yards from scrimmage each year, establishing himself as one of the premier dual-threat weapons in the league. Nobody on this planet understands Alvin Kamara's game better than Pete Carmichael. Nobody knows how to deploy him, how to hide him in formations, how to weaponize his pass-catching ability out of the backfield, how to make defensive coordinators lose their minds trying to account for him. If you are going to transplant Kamara into a new offense, Buffalo under Carmichael is about as natural a fit as you are going to find anywhere in football. Now here is where the conversation gets really interesting. because the financial and trade cost picture is not as scary as you might expect. Kamara is set to make $11.5 million in 2026, which is real money for his position, but the trade compensation is reported to be surprisingly manageable, potentially as low as a late-round draft pick. New Orleans takes on $18 million in dead money split over 2 years if they cut him, and $15 million if they trade him, which suggests the Saints have every financial incentive to move him rather than simply release him. For Buffalo, the question becomes simple. Is a late-round pick and taking on that salary worth adding a player who could give Josh Allen one of the most dangerous receiving backs in football? When you frame it that way, the conversation becomes a lot harder to dismiss. Kamara has always been an elite receiver out of the backfield, and that would fit well in Buffalo's offense, where he could step in as a safety valve for Allen on third downs and in the passing game. We have watched Josh Allen for years working with backs who are dangerous in the passing game, and we know how much it opens up the entire offense when defenses have to respect a running back running routes out of the backfield. Adding Kamara to a room that already features James Cook, who led the entire NFL in rushing last season with 1,621 yards and over 5 yards per carry, would create problems for opposing defenses that are genuinely difficult to solve. You cannot stack the box against Cook if Kamara is lined up in the slot ready to run a wheel route. You cannot play soft coverage on Kamara if Cook is threatening to hit you over the top. But let's be fair to both sides of this debate, because there are absolutely legitimate reasons to pump the brakes. Kamara averaged a career-low 3.6 yards per carry last season after only playing 11 games. He averaged at least 5 yards per carry in each of his first 4 seasons, but has averaged below that in each of his last 5. The decline in his production as a runner is real, and if you are paying him over $11 million and trading away draft capital, you need to go in with clear eyes about what you are actually getting. This is not the 2019 version of Alvin Kamara. His role would need to be carefully managed, his touches curated specifically for situations where his pass-catching ability can dominate, and his workload kept light enough to keep him fresh for the moments that matter most. If Buffalo pursues him, he would likely be utilized in a specialized committee role, primarily as a third-down receiving specialist faux football network. Not a feature back, not a workhorse, but a chess piece. A very expensive, very talented chess piece. And then there is the elephant in the room that nobody can ignore. Kamara has repeatedly said he wants to remain in New Orleans for his entire career,